Just like our sports are a part of who we are here at DeLaSalle, the fine arts are an incredible extension of DeLaSalle.
I met Ron when we were, I'd say, about 14, and we both went to DeLaSalle. He was a year older than me. We also loved art way back when.
There was an art class here, and Brother Roderick taught it. And it was, and Joe Duffy and I took the class together. What was interesting about that was there was a mechanical drawing class that I took, and I wasn't good enough to get into the sequel class, so then I took the art class, and it was a gift. It's a kind of a true confession, but that's the first time I ever laid my hands on clay. I eventually went to St. Thomas. What was nice about St. Thomas is that you could take classes at St. Catherine's. So, you know, I said, maybe I'll go over to St. Catherine's and try to do some clay. And it kind of started over there in my sophomore year. And it was a nice break from all the heavy academics at St. Thomas to get away. And of course then, you know, after that, you know, the academics started to slide and I started to spend more time in the studio over there, because it was really exciting, you know, and I was good at it.
Ron then went out east. That's where he met his wife, Nancy, who's also a ceramic artist.
I taught for 8 years at Penn State. I lectured at St. Olaf, and the chairman, Wendell Arneson, was a beautiful man, and he had this knack for hiring the best talent there was. And so there was a job opening there, and he sent me a letter and he said, "Are you interested in applying?" And I said, "Absolutely." But again, right time, right place. It was the best decision I ever made in my life.
When I was in college at St. Olaf, my dad and some of my dad's friends are like, "You got to get hooked up with Ron. He's the greatest guy." Everyone knew they wanted to take Ron's ceramics class, and I say that maybe Ron let me in his class because of my dad and his buddies.
Right after I had finally declared my art major, magically I ended up in Ron's Intro to Ceramics class. But right away I knew that I was exposed to the coolest, hippest college professor on campus. You know, this was a guy who would come in with these black t-shirts, these cool black t-shirts with like skulls or bicycles on them.
It wasn't a class that I had to show up for and make sure and get this done and try and get the grade. It was more, I felt like a kid at some sort of art camp that I wanted to be at. The ability to have the exposure to a teacher like Ron with art opens up avenues for people that maybe they didn't even know they liked these things.
Somehow Ron had this ability to put your guard down and make you feel like you belonged to the most important place on campus, which was the basement of the art building. But he really created a really energizing art-making environment for so many of us, and it made us all feel like we were part of something bigger than ourselves.
Ron was the kind of guy that he let you do your own thing, even as he was giving you great instruction, made you feel like, hey, what you're doing is art. I'll never forget Ron said to me one time, he goes, "Johnny, don't worry about your pot being so perfect. If you want a perfect pot, go buy it from Target. This is art, just do your thing."
To be the best version of ourselves and make art that we're proud of and that we think really represents us as people or just makes us happy. And I think being able to have an art teacher like that, it really helps you grow, and it really helps you bring out the best version of yourself.
After I left St. Olaf, many times we talk on the phone, and he would constantly rave about how amazing and talented his students were. And I think, you know, what a gift it is to have a mentor who is so enthusiastic about his students and so encouraging.
I love going to work. I mean, I lived in the cities and I'd commute, and it never bothered me. People said, "You're crazy, you drive there," you know, but it was wonderful.
I think people who teach the fine arts have a unique position in that they can open up a part of a student's life which might remain dormant otherwise. And with Ron, namely the creative aspect.
Everybody likes something different, whether it's a textile, whether it's clay, whether it's a canvas, whether it's a piece of paper. Art just allows these kids to do something with their hands and use the right side of their brain.
I think, the creative aspect of it is what I like, is be able to express yourself and do what you want.
It's why art is so fun and so personal, because everyone has their own hand in it and therefore their own mind in it, and it becomes an expression of who they are.
I always tell students, don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. You can do anything you want. It's difficult at times when you start on a new piece and you're kind of frustrated, but you stay with it, and when you resolve it, it's the best feeling you could ever have.
I think art can just invoke so many emotions in people, and I know that when I'm somewhere where there is art, I feel so curious and inspired.
One of the reasons Ron is so fabulous is that he will articulate his art in such a way that comes from an idea that may have started somewhere else, but then it comes down to him putting his artistic credibility into it. And he's an amazing artist, and it comes naturally. It's not just from learning, it's from expressing your own ideas in what you consider the best possible way for that particular work of art.
As somebody who's looked at art as a profession, I think it's really easy to feel like it's something you can't do because it maybe doesn't make as much money, or your parents would frown upon you if you went down that career path. I think it's really inspiring to see that somebody from our school went on to do that and express themselves through art and just do what they love and follow their passion and not worry about that kind of thing.
He's the one that introduced me to my passion in clay, and he gave me the confidence to find my identity when I felt most lost during school. And he rooted for me when I was doing well, and he'd often tell me the cold hard truth when I needed to hear it the most.
Carl Jung uses the phrase vocation loving, and that means people who are able to discern, to find that for which they were born, that for which they were created. And again, I think Ron is one of those people who was able to discover that. He loved what he was doing, he was born to do it, and he did it well.
I want to congratulate one of my all-time best friends, Ron Gallas, for being the recipient of Brother Michael Collins' Fine Arts Award from DeLaSalle. I am so happy that you have now followed in my footsteps, because I followed in yours on so many pieces of art that we've created together. And no one I know is more deserving.
I'd call him a father figure, but he's just a little too cool for that, so he'd be more like the cool uncle. But Ron is an incredible human being with so many gifts, and it's only fitting that he be inducted into the DeLaSalle Hall of Fame, receiving the Brother Michael Collins Fine Art Award. So congratulations, Ron, on this well-deserved honor. You've been a huge influence and inspiration in my life and so many others. I love you, Uncle Ron. Congrats.
Ron, congratulations on the award. You were absolutely an instrumental part of my life. I'm sure you have been for many, many people. You deserve it, man.
Hi, Ronnie. I just want to say that there is nobody more deserving of this award than you. And I wanted to make sure that they showed my most favorite piece that you gave us. I love it so much. And I just want to tell you, congratulations. I think you're brilliant, and I love you.